Hi everyone, it's Knife522 here. I hope you guys are all well. Welcome to my next video tutorial all about checkmates. And today I'm going to be showing you how to do a quick and efficient checkmate with a king and a rook. So what I'm going to do in this position is I'm going to talk you through an example and just highlight some of the techniques that you'll need to checkmate with this rook here. So you can checkmate with the rook. It is a lot harder than checkmating with the queen, as it cannot control squares diagonally. But you can't checkmate with any other piece apart from a rook and a queen. You can't checkmate with a knight or a bishop. Obviously, you can checkmate with a pawn if you can successfully promote it to the end. Okay, so it's black's move. Obviously, black will take the pawn in this position to stop the king going up to e5. So just like that. And now, as you can see, if you're a white player, your rook's really not doing anything, sitting over here on h3. So what you want to do is you want to get your rook centralized. At the moment it's controlling the H file, which isn't very useful as the king is over near the middle of the board. So what I would recommend is in these kind of positions you need to just swing your rook into the center of the board, preferably with check. Obviously rook up to h6 is still keeping it in the side of the board. So let's bring it over to d3. Giving the king a check and, you know, controlling a lot of squares. And you'll notice after the king goes off to e6 here, this rook is now controlling this whole half of the board. So you've already cut off a whole half board for you to checkmate your king. Obviously, you want to get your king into the corner. As you may notice, when the king is in the corner, it can only move to 3 different squares, as out in the center square like e6, it can move to 8 different squares. Okay, so from here, what I recommend now is just centralizing your king. You want to have opposition against the opponent's king, and obviously the opponent is going to try and keep his king as centralized as possible, but he can't even move it to this d file here, so he has to move it back to e7. Okay, so from here, what I recommend is just bringing your king further into the action. King up to f5, now stopping the king from even going back to e6. So you just want to keep the opposition with the kings, and if your opponent ever moves backwards, you want to do the same thing. Okay, so now the opponent moves his king over to f7, probably the most central square that he could go to, better than e8 anyway. And now what you want to do is you want to get the king even further back into the corner. So as you notice here, because of this opposition tactic, this king, if they're opposite each other, this king cannot go onto the next rank. So you'll notice when you bring your rook down to d7 in this position, this king cannot go onto the third rank, which forces the king onto the back rank here, which is obviously a very good thing because now this king is restrained to the back rank, and if you keep your rook on the 7th rank here, this king is now restrained to these 8 squares of the board. Do you notice how we slowly cut off the squares for the king? First the king had the whole board to roam around, then we brought it to d3, it's now got half the board, and then now we bring it into d7, it's just got these last 8 squares on the back rank. Okay, so now you want to bring your king into e6, obviously just defending the rook, keeping the opposition, and from here the only square the king can go to is off to f8, obviously. And as I said before, you just want to keep the opposition, and you can get like 3-4 reposition moves in this position, but you just have to play a waiting move like rook over to c7, which you will see in a minute. Okay, so king over to g7 now, just we're keeping the opposition, but now because, okay, I'll explain this now. Because your opponent has moved something different, you now want to play a waiting move. Because obviously, if you just moved your king over here, he would just go back to the f8 square. But bringing your rook over to c7 now actually restricts the king from coming back to f8 because of rook c8 mate. And I'll talk about this if the king does go over to f8. You're just going to have to use your imagination. Rook c8 checkmate. This king over on f8 cannot go to these 3 squares. The back rank is covered, and that's a checkmate. And that's the main type of checkmate you'll see with rook checkmates. The other one is still the same variation, but it's just like a corner checkmate, which I could go over. Please post me a comment if you want me to go over that. So on with the video. Obviously the only other square the king can go to is h8 now. And I've seen many people like make mistakes in this position, which is a shame. They either go to a stalemate position, or they will you know, try and like lose on time because they can't find the checkmate. But I've seen many people like bring Rook over to G8, which will sorry, G7, which will obviously end in a stalemate position. But what you really want to do is you want to bring your king over to G8 now, forcing the opposition on the king. Now you notice that this king now, it has to go back to G8. There's no other square they can go to. And from here, obviously, the pattern is simple. Rook C8 mate. This is what I was talking about earlier. The king can't go on the back rank, and he also can't move up because his kings are directly opposite. Alright, so thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope that it benefited you watching that video. Obviously, let's just go over the quick tips quickly. Centralize your king, get off position, Rook into the center, cut off more squares to the king, get it into a corner position, and then you can easily deliver the mate. So I hope that helped you with your checkmates. I wish you good luck with your checkmates, because I've seen many people fail this, and I just wanted to help out you guys. Please post me in the comments. As I said, I don't get many. If you want that other tutorial doing, I wish you good luck playing chess, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, guys.